So welcome and thank you for coming. So we are going to start out today in a child's pose. And I'm going to focus a bit today on a lot of side body. I typically do a lot of hips, which is great, but side body is something we typically don't get to work in our daily lives. I'm going to go a little bit deeper today on that. As you find yourself in your comfortable child's pose, just taking time to adjust your knees. Maybe as wide as the mat, maybe a little bit more narrow. Really starting to listen to your breath. Noticing the quality of your breath. And feeling the sensation as it comes in through the nose, comes all the way across your back to the end of your spine. Returning it back across your spine and out your nose. This is a breath that we'll use through practice to help guide us and to help give us a checkpoint to how we're feeling. And if the breath is becoming too ragged, you know you can always back off or skip any poses. If you feel like you're not getting enough, you can always take it up to whatever degree you'd like. And the next exhale, we're going to start to walk the hands to the right side of the mat, maybe off the mat. And starting to lengthen the left side of the body. And releasing those muscles between your ribs, those intercostal muscles. And coming back through center, we'll walk hands all the way over to the left side. We're releasing the right side of the body. And bringing it back toward the center to your child's pose. And starting to walk the hands back towards your body. You're going to come into a puppy pose. So bringing the knees now about hip width and keeping the hips stacked above your heels or your ankles or your knees. And starting to walk the hands forward. So you're opening the chest. You may come down the forearms. You may your head comes down to the mat. Just imagine you're melting your chest or your heart toward the mat. Just being mindful to make any adjustments if this doesn't feel comfortable. Coming back to a child's pose is a great place to be. And we'll come into tabletop, bringing the hands back under shoulders. Nice wide fingers. As we take our first cow on the inhale, pausing here, just noticing this cow, drawing your heart forward. Taking a glance over your right shoulder, maybe the right hip rocks a little bit more to the right, so making a little U shape with your body. And coming to center, we'll gaze left, maybe the left hip shifts over. Coming back to center. We exhale into cat pose, really drawing the spine up, drawing the navel up. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. Taking 3 more rounds of cat-cow. Taking any variation you would like. Knee back in a tabletop. We're going to thread the needle, so taking the right arm up and out, gazing up to the ceiling. Exhale, sending that hand left, tucking the right shoulder and temple on the mat. You can keep your left hand where it is under your shoulder. You can draw it toward the top of your mat or wrap it behind your back. Just taking this nice opportunity to breathe a little bit deeper through the chest and through the shoulder. Placing the hand under your shoulder, the left hand if it's not already there, and as you root in, releasing the right arm and setting it back onto the mat. As we switch sides, inhaling the left arm, exhale, threading the needle, settling in onto the left temple and the left shoulder. Maybe taking the same variation with the right hand, maybe exploring something different. And since we're not perfectly symmetrical, sometimes one variation will feel better on one side than the other. And with that right hand under your shoulder, rooting in, releasing the left arm. And placing the left hand back onto the mat. As we tuck toes on the exhale, pressing back to down dog. Setting up in this first down dog of practice, taking any movements that might feel good, sometimes bending one knee at a time, rising up on the toes and lowering down. Just feeling your hips floating up and back, drawing yourself out of your shoulders. With the inhale, we'll rock forward to plank. We're going to lower all the way down to the mat. Tops of the feet on the mat. We're going to come into a Sphinx Pose. So making that number 11 with your arms, your forearms, elbows under shoulders, palms flat. And drawing the heart through your arms, with your chest forward. You want to set your gaze maybe about a foot or so in front of you, but finding whatever placement feels best on your neck. And bring the head down, bringing the hands now under the shoulders as we get ready for a baby cobra. Inhale, drawing up chin, chest. Exhale down. We'll take one more cobra. If you want a full cobra or an up dog, feel free to go there. Maybe bringing the hands a little bit closer to the ribs. Rising up. If you're taking up dog, drawing thighs off the mat. Exhale, pressing back to down dog. Stepping or hopping to the top of the mat. Setting up for ragdoll. With your feet hip width. Maybe holding onto elbows or clasping hands behind your back. This is a great pose. Any forward fold is a great pose for cooling the body and the mind. This can be especially beneficial if you're practicing outside in the heat. Releasing the hands, walk the feet together, drawing big toes together, rooting into the feet, rising to mountain pose, letting the hands clasp at the top, and keeping the pointer fingers facing the ceiling. So we exhale, bending right, maybe coming a little bit deeper through the left side of the body. Inhale through center. And exhale left. Inhale through center. On the exhale, bringing hands to your heart. Taking a moment here, pausing, setting an intention for your practice. Inhale as you release the hands, letting them sweep up to mountain pose. Exhale, folding forward, either swan dive or hands through heart center. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant hands. Step back, high plank. Lowering down, chaturanga, or all the way to the mat. Tops of the feet on the mat. Inhale, rise, up dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. We'll be moving through this Sun A, one breath per movement, knowing that you can make this your own, changing any pacing or leaving anything out. Easing forward on the inhale, exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to mountain pose. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant hands, step or hop back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take this one more time through. Facing forward on the inhale, exhale, step or hop to the top. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to mountain pose. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant hands, step or hop back, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. The next inhale, gazing forward, bending your knees, rising up on your toes. Step or hop to the top of the mat. Keeping the hips down, the fingers along the mat, coming to chair. You can sweep your hands up. And they can reach up toward the sky. They can rest at your heart. Maybe taking a wide V shape. We'll fold forward on the exhale. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant hands, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts on the inhale. Exhale, warrior one. Stepping the right foot through, back foot plants at about 45 degrees. Really looking to square the heart toward the front of the mat, letting the hips angle wherever they feel comfortable. Exhale, plant hands, chaturanga, maybe floating the right leg. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg. Exhale, warrior one. Rising up with that square heart. Knee bent, knee over ankle. And exhale, plant hands, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. We'll inhale the right leg. Exhale, warrior one. Inhale, rise. Exhale, plant hands, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg. Exhale, warrior one. Rising inhale. Exhale, plant hands, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more time through. Inhaling the right leg. Exhale, warrior one. Exhale, plant hands, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhaling left leg. Exhale, warrior one. Rising up on the inhale. Exhale, plant hands. Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a moment, listening to your breath, noticing the heat that you've already built. On the next inhale, we're going to raise the right leg behind. Exhale, knee to nose. Drawing that knee, that thigh up toward the chest. Inhale, extend. Exhale, right knee, right tricep or elbow. Inhale, extend. Exhale, right knee, left elbow. And we cross the body. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crescent lunge. Right foot steps between the hands, feet are parallel. Making sure you're finding a stance that's wide enough to give you stability. We'll cactus the arms, drawing the chest up, maybe gazing up at the sky or the ceiling, letting the weight of the arms help to create a little bit more length across your chest. Inhale, straighten the arms. We're going to dip down the left knee, cactusing the arms. Inhale, rise. Exhale, dip. Inhale, rise. One more. Exhale, dip. Inhale, rise. Exhale, warrior two. First time coming into our warrior two. The back foot is planted at 40 or 90 degrees, perpendicular. Really drawing the arms to the front and back, activating the muscles in the upper back to help float the arms. We exhale, coming into our extended side angle. Forearm on thigh, or maybe reaching toward the mat. Just enjoying that length on the outer edge of the foot through the fingertips. And from here, we're going to come into Skandasana. So bringing that right hand down to the mat, left hand comes down, and we're going to walk hands to that back foot. Straightening the right leg, flexing the foot. You may be on your toes, you may be on the hole of your left foot. Just looking to create a little bit more length on the inner thigh in the right. Bringing hands back to the mat if they're not there. As we walk the hands to the top of the mat, pivoting feet, coming into our low lunge twist. Left hand will plant firmly, right hand will reach up toward the sky. If you'd like to open a little bit deeper, you can reach it even more toward the side, gazing up toward the sky or the ceiling. Bringing the hand back to the mat, slipping back to down dog or taking a vinyasa. Inhaling the left leg. Exhale into nose. Inhale, extend. Exhale, left knee, left elbow, left tricep. Inhale, extend. Exhale, left knee, right elbow. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crescent lunge. Keeping that knee above the ankle or a little bit behind, so the arms reach up. We're going to cactus the arms again. Drawing that gaze up toward the ceiling or the sky. Maybe feeling a little bit different this time, maybe a little bit more open. Inhale, the arms straighten as we take our dips. Exhale, right knee comes down, cactus the arms. Inhale, rise. Exhale, dip. Inhale, rise. One more. Exhale, dip. Inhale, rise. And exhale, warrior two. Setting up on the side for your warrior two. Making sure the knee is tracking a little bit toward the pinky toe edge. Just keeping it from collapsing, keeping it a little bit more stable. And then our next exhale will come into that extended side angle. Maybe resting the forearm on the thigh, maybe floating it. Maybe that left hand comes down to the mat. As we transition into Skandasana, bringing the left hand down and the right hand down, walking the hands back to the back of the mat, to that right foot, letting the left leg straighten, foot flexed. Just taking the opportunity to really breathe into the inner thigh on the left leg. And planting the hands on the mat. So we walk to the top of the mat with the hands pivoting the feet, setting up for that low lunge twist. Right hand roots into the mat, left hand reaches up. Maybe you open a little bit more, drawing the arm open. Maybe it reaches straight up toward the sky. Lowering the hands, stepping back to down dog, or taking a vinyasa. Easing forward on the inhale, exhale. Step up or float to the top of the mat. Inhale, coming to chair pose. Sinking your chair back. Maybe playing around with how low it is or playing around with feet placement. A little bit wider stance is always easier on your knees and your back. With your hands at your heart, you're going to twist to the right, hooking left elbow over right thigh. The hands can rest at your heart center or they can open for the ceiling. Great detoxifying twist. And keeping the breath flowing to help flush anything out. Back to center on the inhale as we root into the right foot, one-legged mountain, and drawing the left knee up, arms reaching up toward the sky. Straighten the left leg in front. And then drawing it back like a pendulum, coming into airplane, the arms reaching back, or warrior three with the arms reaching to the front. You always want to keep a little bit of softness in that standing leg to protect the knee. Inhale, stepping back, warrior two. So we set up for humble warrior, taking the hands behind the back and clasping them. And if this is too intense on your shoulders, you can always take a towel or a strap. We'll gaze up on the inhale, drawing the fist down. Exhale, the right head sinks down, or the head sinks down inside the right knee. And the hands maybe lift off and float up. Great way to open the shoulders and the hips simultaneously. One more breath. Rising up, inhale, releasing hands, reversing your warrior. Exhale, warrior two. So we set up for our half moon. The right hand will reach a spot about a foot in front of the right foot. Left leg floats. Flexing the foot is always helpful. If your balance isn't feeling where you want it today, sometimes placing that top hand on your hip is helpful. If you'd like to play a little bit more with balance, maybe lifting the right hand, noticing what happens. Nice, stepping back, reversing your warrior. And exhale, cartwheel hands. Warrior vinyasa or step back to down dog. We gaze forward on the inhale, exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, coming to chair pose. We repeat the sequence on the second side. Twist to the left, right elbow over left knee or between knees. Hands can reach toward the center. You can open floor to ceiling. And then the hands come to the heart if they're not there. Returning to the front, one-legged mountain as we draw the right knee up. Feeling all four corners of the foot on the mat. We'll extend the right leg in front. And drawing it back for airplane or for warrior three. Taking time to notice, to hone in on the difference between the right side and the left side. As we step back, warrior two. Preparing for that humble warrior. And if you always clasp your hands one way, see what would happen if you change that by one finger. It'll feel a little bit different, but it may help you get a little bit deeper in some different areas. The exhale, letting the head sink down inside the left knee. Melting any tension off your shoulders, letting it just run off. One more breath. Inhale, releasing hands, reversing your warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Setting up for half moon. You come forward, planting the left hand on the mat, on a water bottle, any solid surface that will give you support. Feeling free to play around if that's calling out. Just always imagine you're drawing yourself up and out of the left hip. And the next inhale, we'll step back, reversing warrior. Exhale, cartwheel hands, take a vinyasa, or step back to down dog. Inhaling right leg. Exhale, crescent lunge. And clasping hands at the top, point your fingers facing up. We'll bend to the right, reaching across the body. Inhale to center. Exhale, bending toward the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, warrior two. So we set up for a Trikonasana triangle pose, straightening the right leg. Sometimes you may need to toe heel that back foot in just a bit. So reach forward, lowering the right hand. Letting it rest at a spot that enables you to really extend the arms and open the chest. Making sure your spine feels nice and straight. You have as much space as possible in your chest to breathe. Inhale, reversing triangle. Exhale, coming back to center as we set upper prasarita. Arms reaching out to the side, toes in or slightly in. Hands on hips, gazing up on the inhale. Exhale, folding over. If you'd like to reach deeper into your chest and your shoulders, feel free to clasp the hands behind your back. Letting the fists move off your spine, maybe to the ceiling or to the front. Next inhale, we'll plant hands on the mat under shoulders. We're going to bring the right hand to the center. On the exhale, left hand reaches up, finding a twist that's predominantly your upper and middle back, trying to protect the low back. Switching sides, left hand plant center, right hand reaches up. Bringing the right hand back down. We're going to walk hands to the top of the mat, stepping back to a down dog, taking an optional vinyasa if you'd like. We'll inhale the right leg. Exhale, crescent lunge. The hands rise up, letting them clasp. Point your fingers facing up. Exhale, bending left. Breathing deeply through the right side of the body. Inhale, coming through center. So we exhale, bending right. Back up through center. As we exhale to warrior two, preparing for that Skandasana, straightening the left leg. So shift the hip back, reaching forward. And releasing the left hand on the support that feels best. Noticing both feet on the mat squarely, feeling all four corners. Inhale, rising up, reversing your triangle, left leg stay straight. Inhale, coming to our five-pointed star. Arms will reach up, heels in, toes out. And finding that imaginary wall behind your back, we'll slide down into goddess. Your arms can come to this cactus shape. They can come to your heart. Just feeling what feels best on your shoulders. Letting yourself come down to a place that's giving you some challenge, but not causing any discomfort. And we'll take our hands under our thighs, coming up just a little bit. We're going to draw the right shoulder into center, gazing left. Really deepening the release on the back. Inhale through center. Exhale, left shoulder comes in. Gazing to the right. And back up through center. Pivoting to back to your warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, cartwheel hands. Take a vinyasa or step back to down dog. We're up forward now to plank pose. Coming down to forearms, letting your forearms make a nice 11 shape, hands flat on the mat. We're going to do some hip dips, working on the core, the obliques. Letting the right hip dip down, coming to center on the left hip. And alternating sides to your pace. One more set. And coming all the way onto your belly. So we set up for Spatula Pose. I'm going to take the left arm out like a wing. The right hand is rooted under your shoulder. Cheek is on the mat. We're going to roll to the left. The legs can stack on top of one another, or maybe stepping that right foot behind. If you'd like to come deeper, you can always raise the right arm, wind it behind your back. This is really great pose if you've been doing a lot of work on the computer. It really helps to re-lengthen the front of the body. Coming back through the center, rolling onto your belly, drawing the left hand in, extending the right arm. And we'll take this on the second side, rolling over to the right. The left leg may step behind, the legs may stack. And coming back through the center. And pressing back into a child's pose. Taking just a couple breaths here. As you sit on your heels, sitting up, shifting the hips over, we'll come to a seated position. We'll come into a reverse tabletop. So feet are planted about hip width, hands behind you with fingers facing your hips. Come into that tabletop. I need a nice counter pose after chaturangas or a lot of planks. Letting the hips come down. Extending the legs straight. We're going to find our way into fish pose. Bringing the forearms onto the mat. You can keep your hands under your hips. That's how I like to start. And starting to draw the chest up. Maybe adjusting where the elbows are. And the head can either stay in line with your spine or it can drop back. This is really just based on your own physiology. Finding what feels best. Really finding a nice release across the front of the body. As we come out, come back up to a seated pose. Coming into half lord of the fish. Taking the left leg across, planting it outside the right. Left hand comes behind. Inhaling the right arm up. As we exhale, we'll twist left. You may hook the right elbow over the left knee or maybe hugging the knee. And sending that gaze where it feels good. We have the opportunity to get deep into the twist, but having no pain. Coming back around to the center. We'll switch sides. Right foot comes over, right hand behind. Inhaling the left arm up and twisting over to the right. Coming back through to center. Bringing the knees in, working just a little bit on core as we roll like a ball. We have a couple ways to do this. One way is to hug the knees and roll. Another way, placing elbows on knees. If you really want to take it up another notch, placing hands on your head, elbows on knees. Rolling, letting your core help bring you forward and backward. Knowing you're not married to any one variation, feeling free to switch it up. We have 15 more seconds. Now we'll meet on our backs. Coming into Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet press together, knees open out to the side. You're going to rest a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly. Or hands can come out to the side, or even reaching overhead, creating a more cooling effect. Noticing your breath, noticing any changes you may observe from the beginning of practice. Just appreciating everything your body has done for you. Taking the knees and gently drawing them together to come into happy baby. Reach on to your soles of your feet, your ankles, your calves, your knees. Maybe rocking side to side. Releasing the feet, giving yourself a hug as we prepare to come into Shavasana. Taking yourself into any shape that feels good, maybe laying on your back with the legs out slightly, feet splayed out. Sometimes I like to tuck my shoulder blades under just a little bit. So knees bent, feet to the edges of the mat, knees coming to the center is great if you have low back pain. And as you settle in, letting the earth support you, feeling that heartbeat, the breathing of the earth. And starting to bring awareness to your body, wiggling fingers and toes, rolling out your wrists and ankles. And you draw knees in, rolling over to one side. And slowly bringing yourself up to a comfortable seat. I'd like to share this quote with you. Learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow. With your hands together in prayer position, drawing them up to third eye center, wishing you peace in your thoughts, bringing hands towards your lips, wishing you peace in your words, drawing hands to heart center, wishing you peace in your heart. As we bow forward together, we seal our practice.